Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I have to tell you, I almost don't know where to start in covering Caitlin Clark's debut on NBC on Sunday night basketball before the Knicks versus Lakers game. I really don't. I just said I'm just going to hit record because I don't really know where to start. We said a whole lot during the live stream of that pregame, but let's just talk about a few things. Caitlin Clark and NBC absolutely knocked it out of the park. Probably the wrong metaphor there because it's basketball. Let's just say they hit a logo 3 on this event. I was extremely impressed with how the whole thing was done. I was extremely impressed with the way NBC did it. I was impressed with those Caitlin joined on the panel, Maria Taylor and Carmelo Anthony and Reggie Miller, and of course with Caitlin Clark. So I'm sure you're getting to see a lot of people's coverage of it and what they think. And so I'm not even going to attempt to cover everything or show a ton of footage or anything like that. I'm going to talk about a few things that make that whole event, because it was an event, make that whole event a huge success. All right, so let's start with the start. I'm going to start with something that's going to seem rather superficial. But as much as the WNBA and Unrivaled like to highlight the fits, players coming out in their fits, as superficial as it is, it does seem to draw people's interest. So I got to say, first of all, Caitlin
Clark's debut on NBC Sunday Night Basketball wasn't just an appearance. It was an event, and from a sports media and business perspective, it was executed almost perfectly. NBC didn't rush the moment or oversaturate the audience. Instead, they built anticipation the right way, treating Caitlin Clark like the star she is. Delaying her entrance wasn't a mistake. It was smart television. You introduced the show. Allow viewers to settle in, let late arrivals find the channel, and then you unveil the main attraction. When Caitlin finally joined the panel alongside Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, and Reggie Miller, it felt earned. The presentation elevated her without overhyping her, and that balance is hard to strike. This wasn't forced marketing. It felt organic, respectful, and intentional. NBC clearly understood that Caitlin Clark isn't just another guest. She's a centerpiece in the current sports landscape, and they treated her accordingly.
Representing your brand, your league, your foundation, your fans, your team. We can go on and on because a whole lot of people were represented in Caitlin Clark doing what she did last night. The outfit was professional. The color was beautiful. Again, the pictures look a little different, but it was a fuchsia type outfit. And I think this is, and I'm not trying to disparage anyone or anything like that. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but she looked not only professional, but she looked feminine in that color. And we live in a time when it comes to women's basketball in particular, where a lot of the women don't care to look feminine. In fact, they don't want to look feminine. They look the exact opposite. When you are on a platform of that magnitude and you have this moment and you want to appeal to the masses as a woman, most people take to women who are comfortable in their femininity, who are comfortable in wearing that fuchsia, who are comfortable being women. Again, not trying to throw any shade. This is business, and we're talking business. And Caitlin, why should I even apologize? She looked like a feminine woman. It's a wonderful thing. Why am I apologizing? See where we've gone in this culture. I think that was huge. for her, for the fans, for the world who's watching, because I think that that's something that just people take to. And so good for her for that. Another thing that stands out, now that we got that superficial out of the way, I know people had complaints about Caitlyn not being out at the beginning, because we're in the chat and people are like, where's Caitlyn? Where's Caitlyn? And people are like typing in, where's Caitlyn? Because we were like, where's Caitlyn? But one of the things that we talked about during the live stream is that's a smart move by NBC, because you want to introduce the star. You want to introduce this special guest. You know that people also are probably going to tune in late, because you know that there were some people who are like, oh, wait, what channel was this on? Oh, wait, well, this is today? Oh, wait, how do I get on? And so you have enough time for people to figure all those things out. Additionally, it's just how you work it. You want to build an excitement. You want to have the numbers there sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting to see the star. And in this case, that's Caitlin Clark. You know, people were going to be blowing up the ratings. And so you get your show started. You do her the honor of having her get that grand introduction with people waiting. And then you bring her out.
And we're joined by our special correspondent. Welcome to the team, Caitlin Clark. Yes.
First time in MSG for a Knicks game, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. How could you describe maybe the atmosphere your first time in it?
Well, I think as a player, like, this is kind of when you feel the atmosphere the most, is when you're out on the court warming up. So, I mean, there's just a different type of buzz. And obviously when LeBron comes to town, it's probably really different. But, you know, Knicks fans are crazy and I love it. I love people that are passionate about basketball. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating for people as I see people comment on it. But in terms of business, in terms of how you deal with special guests, that's what you should expect. And then they did a good job, because they gave us some highlights at first after they started the show. And then they did some more highlights. And then they showed us Caitlyn having fun with Jamal Crawford in their game of a modified horse, which was for them NBC. This too was absolutely masterful, because we got to see Caitlyn on the court again, which of course people wanted to see, even though she's not playing a 5-on-5 game. You get to see her out there, and you get to see her being willing to compete in front of eyeballs. So it's real. We get to see the real person. We got to see her lose the first game and then come back and win the next two games. So she won the series, but she knew when she stepped out there and started playing this game that she could potentially lose. And she was willing to do that. And that honestly makes people love you more. It endears you even more to people when they see your humanity, when they see how real you are, when they see you're willing to not only succeed in front of people, but also possibly.
Some people dismiss aesthetics as superficial, but in reality, presentation matters, especially when you are representing an entire league and movement. Caitlin Clark showed up looking polished, professional, and confident, wearing a vibrant fuchsia outfit that stood out without distracting. She looked ready for the moment, and that matters in sports media, branding, and leadership. She didn't just represent herself. She represented the WNBA, her team, her sponsors, and the future of women's basketball. There's nothing wrong with femininity, and Caitlyn's comfort in her own identity resonated with a broad audience. People connect with authenticity, and she looked completely at ease being herself on a massive platform. That visual confidence paired with substance sends a powerful message. You can be elite, respected, professional, and unapologetically yourself at the same time.
Not win. It makes us see you as we see ourselves, and which makes us relate to you more. And so ultimately, she won 2 out of 3. But her getting out there, seeing her miss shots, and then seeing her make shots, it's all a part of the connection experience that is key to when you're trying to grow your sport, your brand, and of course, obviously, interest. So, yeah.
You can go first.
Left hand free throw.
That's crazy.
Wow.
This could go anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Heels on the line.
And you're comfortable.
Oh!
Good job.
Great job. Way to hoop.
That was fun.
My favorite thing was when I saw Caitlin in the green room, she's like, I lost the first game. I was like, girl, you won the series, though. You won the series.
That was really fun. Another thing, Caitlin knocked it out of the park because she was calm. She was well-spoken. She was knowledgeable. She was reflective, even about her own game.
Luka. I mean, Luka's amazing and he's incredible. I think the way he can not only score the ball, but also the way he passes. He can get a defender to move where he wants him to go and he takes up that space and he does a really good job of either keeping the defender behind him or keeping him to the side. So I think that's something I can certainly learn from. Like I always kind of want to run away from the defense rather than absorbing the contact and taking up the space that they give me. So
when Caitlin talks about, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to not just run away from defense. I want to improve. It shows us that she is someone who, again, is knowledgeable about the game, is reflective about her own game, doesn't think she's got everything mastered, has taken the time to think about what it is she wants to do, how she wants to be better. And that's just, again, something that makes us respect her even more. And then, of course, she shows her knowledge of the game because she can talk about other players and how she sees something in them that she values. When I say she's calm and well-spoken, no doubt Caitlin was nervous before the event. She's human. So whenever I've spoken in front of large numbers of people before, not like in that huge arena, and certainly not with Hall of Famers, but I think the most I've spoken in front of at one point is a few thousand, maybe 3,000. But whatever the event is, when you're nervous in the build up and when you're coming out and when you're starting. But as we said during the live stream, once she began to talk, what's in you is going to come out of you. And what's in Caitlin Clark is a love for the game, is a knowledge of the game, is a commitment to the game. And ultimately, you realize I'm in my element and I'm okay. And she was definitely in her element. She was calm. She kept our attention. She was glowing. And I'm not just trying to like glaze or whatever. I'm assessing, not just from a fan perspective, but I am assessing from a business perspective, from a leadership perspective, and from what my eyes can see. And what my eyes can see is someone who is comfortable being in the spotlight, being able to say, okay, I might be nervous before this because this is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. And she might be nervous, but when she steps out there and starts talking, she knows what she's talking about. So you calm down. And after you open your mouth and start talking, you're just flowing. But not everybody can do it in such a way as Caitlin Clark. You've heard me say many times that you don't see her messing up. Someone said in the chat last night that Caitlin was a great representative for the sport because you don't have to worry that she's going to say something that's going to embarrass your organization, embarrass the team, embarrass her family. She is very disciplined, very well-spoken, very knowledgeable, but also wise as to what to say and what not to say. She also knocked it out of the park or hit the logo 3 when in those short comments, she managed to pay honor to the old players, as in, when I say old, I don't mean necessarily old in age, but the legends.
One of the smart-ass decisions NBC made was putting Caitlin Clark back on the court, even briefly, with Jamal Crawford in a light-hearted competition. That moment wasn't about perfection, it was about connection. Viewers saw her miss shots, adjust, compete, lose a round, then bounce back and win the series. That vulnerability matters. It reminded everyone that she's human, competitive, and unafraid to perform without a safety net. Athletes who are willing to risk losing in front of millions build stronger bonds with fans than those who only appear in controlled environments. Caitlyn didn't hide behind reputation. She leaned into competition, smiled through it, and embraced the moment. That authenticity builds trust, relatability, and long-term fan loyalty, which is exactly how stars grow beyond the game itself.
The game, like Maya Moore, she got Maya Moore in her short time on that pregame. She also talked about how important this moment is right now.
First WNBA game when I was a young girl, I went to the Minnesota Lynx when they had their dynasty with Maya Moore and they were playing the Seattle Storm. And now basically any arena you go to, it's sold out. We're adding 2 teams. We're up to 14 now and then hopefully getting to 18 in the next couple of years. So, business is booming and that's a really good thing. And we kind of just got to keep meeting the moment. The talent's getting better and better. You see it at the...
And when you talk about this being the great moment it is right now, you're also paying respect and honor to the players you play with right now. She mentioned USA basketball as well. And of course, she mentioned, I'm itching to get back on the court, which makes the public excited to hear because many of us are itching to see her back on the court after she only had an opportunity to play 13 games last season.
I only appeared in 13 games last year. So more than anything, I'm just itching to get back out on the court and kind of feel like myself again. And I've been putting in a lot of hard work and I got USA basketball coming up. So looking forward to that too.
Yeah. So like I said, short amount of time in the big scheme of things, but what she did with that time, nothing short of phenomenal. Now, the CBA question, yes, it did come up. And I imagine that Maria Taylor would have been remiss if she did not mention that. There was a big meeting coming up, well, at that point coming up tomorrow, which is of course today. But that's a big thing. It's a big thing that their careers are hanging on. So they asked her about it. And she answered.
Future, what would you like to see happen as you come to a negotiation?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's just a big moment for the WNBA. I think all of women's sports, I think this is one of the biggest moments we've ever had. So, I feel very confident that we're going to get something done. And that's because we're in this moment because of the product we put on the floor. So we need to be able to continue to do that. And I know everybody's working really hard. There's a meeting tomorrow that's super important. And I truly do believe we're going to get something done here in the next couple of weeks. But like you said,
notice that she answers without being disrespectful. And this is part of what makes Caitlyn the face of women's basketball, the voice of women's basketball. She's not out there trying to drop F-bombs. She's not out there trying to disparage the owners or WNBA leadership or her own fellow players. She is just saying, you know what she does? She brings a certain, again, calm, because there are a lot of people who are going, what's going to happen with the CBA? Is there going to be a 2026 season? I know Indiana Fever fans are like, we want to see Caitlyn play again. We want to see Caitlyn and A.B. Cook. And Caitlyn there's a lot of boxes yet to be checked. There's a lot yet to be done. But I feel confident that we're going to get the deal done. Now, from my perspective, that's not saying that Caitlyn has some inside information that this thing is all going to work out. What it is Caitlyn is laying the foundation and saying, this is a key moment for women's basketball. I am confident that they ain't gonna blow it. That's the way I read it. But she does feel confident. She says, and I believe she feels confident of that, but I don't believe that necessarily means that she has definitely knows that it's all worked out. No, I don't believe it is worked out, but I believe she's voicing that out of her own idea that surely we're not going to ruin this moment. And when she does that, I even saw on social media where some people said, wow, I feel a lot better about the CBA now that happens. See, that's what you do. And that's how you That's what you do when you're dealing, understanding that there are two sides, understanding that there are fans involved. Caitlin has already told us that the fans deserve a
What truly set Caitlin Clark apart during the broadcast was her composure and basketball intelligence. She didn't rely on buzzwords or surface-level analysis. She spoke thoughtfully about the game, her own development, and what she continues to learn. When she discussed players like Luka Doncic and how he uses space, contact, and pace, it showed deep understanding. Even more impressive was her self-awareness, openly acknowledging areas she wants to improve rather than pretending she has everything figured out. That humility combined with confidence is rare. Despite the pressure of the moment, she was calm, articulate, and grounded. Nervous or not, once she started talking, it was clear she was in her element. This is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, and it's why organizations trust her as a representative of the sport.
season. And that's what you do. You don't come in and bring chaos. You come in and bring confidence. And that's what she did. And in so doing, you show your own passion to be out there playing again. And it sends a message without hammering anybody. Give her the mic anytime. I also have to say, NBC did a fabulous job of treating Caitlin Clark like the star she is. They honored her. They spoke well of her. They asked questions, not in a, patronizing way, but in a real way from someone who has proven herself to know how to play the game, to understand the game, and someone you respect.
Out what they have to do.
Why are you saying LeBron? We have Caitlin Clark here.
You know what?
I'm just telling. She's never played here.
Hear
You have that too, and that pick and roll, keeping them in jail, and then understanding how to operate out of that. You have it. You have it. So I was.
Well, just know that the league's fortunate to have you,
I
a
appreciate it, Maria.
transcendent
Absolutely.
piece of growing the game. We appreciate you just joining us on Basketball Night in
Thank you. It was
America.
fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Now
gotta
I
come
get
back.
to enjoy this. I mean, what's better, MSG, Sunday night?
You can put your
This is how you treat the star of women's basketball, the face and the voice. They did a really good job, every single one of them, as treating her as an equal in terms of your skill, your talent, your stardom. Excellent. And she comported herself in the same way. If I am her family, first of all, well, if I'm Caitlin Clark, first of all, if I am her family, if I am her her previous coaches and growing up, particularly in college, if I am Nike, if I am State Farm, if I am the Indiana Fever, as a team, and then not just her teammates, but yes, her teammates, and then going into the larger organization of the Indiana Fever, and I could probably name more things, her foundation, all that. If I am any of those, and including herself, as I said, I am extremely proud of the way she carried herself and the way she represented all of them. Because as I've said before, and I said again in the live stream, you have to understand. Did I say if I'm the WNBA? If I didn't, I should have. If I'm the WNBA, because I can't leave that part out. You have to understand that when you showcase someone who is clearly the ambassador for your league, it speaks of you as well. It's sort of like when people say, when you see them, you see the family. As a person who taught for nearly 2 decades, there have been times when I've met family on parent-teacher night or wherever, and once I meet the family, once I meet the mom or the dad, I go, okay, now I understand. And sometimes that's not so good. I'm like, I get why, little Johnny or Miss Shaniqua is the way she is. And sometimes it is really good. Oh, I get why they are that way. Because when you they represent something larger. And Caitlin did well by all people and organizations she represents. It was really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because, yes, I am an Indiana Fever fan. I am a Caitlin Clark fan. But if you are not, an Indiana Fever fan, not a Caitlin Clark fan, and you just step back and put your biases aside, you'd have to be able to look at that and say, this was an absolute baseball analogy again, an absolute home run, a logo 3. And this is good for women's sports. This is good for the WNBA. And again, this is good for women's sports. It's good for sports in general because she is an incredible ambassador and she did an incredible job on a big stage in a big event. So those are some of my thoughts. Obviously, you guys have probably already been talking about this. I know in the live stream we have, and you can get in the chat and talk some more. Those are just a few things. There's a lot more I could say, but those are just a few things that I wanted to share. So we'll find out what goes on with the CBA, but CBA aside, absolute ridiculously phenomenal presentation by Caitlin Clark and NBC. All right, I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.
The CBA discussion could have been divisive, emotional, or controversial, but Caitlin Clark handled it with maturity and leadership. She acknowledged the importance of the moment without creating panic or assigning blame. Instead of fueling uncertainty, she projected confidence in the league, in the players, and in the future of women's sports. She didn't attack ownership, didn't posture politically, and didn't grandstand. She reassured fans that the work being done matters and that everyone involved understands the weight of the moment. That kind of response doesn't happen by accident. It reflects discipline, media awareness, and genuine care for the game and its supporters. By bringing calm instead of chaos, Caitlin did exactly what leaders do. She stabilized the conversation, honored all sides, and reminded fans why she's the face and voice of women's basketball right now.